I like swords.
Hello everybody and welcome to today's tips and tricks video for Town of Salem. Now the werewolf role's actually had a few changes made to it since my last video on the werewolf, so I'm just going to go through those quickly. Now the werewolf can attack every 2 nights as opposed to the second night, then 3 nights, then 3 nights. So that's something you should consider as it's now a more powerful role. Also, the werewolf can now no longer win with the mafia, serial killer, or arsonist. It can, however, still win with the survivor or the witch. Okay, so let's get going with this. What I generally say is good for the werewolf is to have sort of like a Jekyll and Hyde personality. Now, what this means is, well, Jekyll was a doctor who was calm and a pacifist, whereas Hyde was a ravenous monster. It's a story from quite a while ago. And while you're in your human phase, you should remain quiet, composed, probably not speak too much unless somebody engages with you. Keep an eye on the chat, try and find out what people's roles are for your own advantages. What it's good for you to claim when somebody would accuse you is probably survivor due to the investigator's ability to see you as a witch survivor or a werewolf. Now, claiming survivor can be a bit annoying because it's generally a restricted role on the role list. So if you feel that survivor would get you found out quite easily, like if somebody else would just say, hold on, I'm a survivor, and then you're thrown into a deadlock where two of you've got survivor can only be one, and you're going to get lynched or killed quite easily, then I'd advise claiming something that there are two of. Like, say, if there's a town protective role that there's two of, you could claim a doctor. Then neither of the doctors will really know, and then you'll have one doctor who's just like, hold on a second, I'm a doctor. And then you've got some awkwardness there. So it'll buy you some time for a little while at least. But if it's late game, then it's not really going to matter much because people are going to die anyway, and you're going to be alright. When Mafia are actually winning, you can actually claim Witch. If you claim a Witch, the Mafia will think that you're their friend. This works really well if there's a random neutral, but not very well if there's no neutrals because they'll call you out. Except for yourself, of course. But it is quite possible for you to try and team up with the Mafia and kill them on the second night where you get your thing. On human days, don't start accusing people. You start accusing people, you call a ruckus, and if one of those happens to be a killing roll, they could kill you on that night. Which is really bad for you because nobody really wants to die. But I'm going to talk to you about the main threats to werewolves right now, and that is actually not the Mafia, serial killer, arsonist, although they are viable threats. The arsonist even more so because he can burn you alive even when you're a werewolf. But the biggest threats are town killing rolls, and I mean all of them. Town get desperate. We all know this. We know that town make mistakes. However, this is bad because when you're a werewolf on a human night and a vigilante decides to go, oh, let's shoot this guy, you're going to die, which is upsetting because vigilantes generally don't kill the big killing rolls. But at any rate, you should be able to avoid that by staying generally quiet. Veterans. Now, veterans are the biggest problem you will ever face as a werewolf. What the veteran does is it kills you while you kill him, which is bad, mostly because he can force a draw at the end of the game. Generally, the win conditions for a werewolf is being you left alone with a town member or a non-killing role. Now, unfortunately, if you're left with a veteran, because you can only attack on every 2 nights, he'll know exactly the night you're coming for him, and generally, because veterans always keep one alert back, he will manage to kill you and rob you of your victory. Not to mention, if you attack him in early game, he's going to kill you as well. So what I would recommend for veterans is if you can know one's there, and you generally will because they'll mark themselves in their death note, kill them on day 4 or day 6. Because generally they'll have used up their alerts unless they're gunning for werewolf, which is not a very likely thing. Most veterans don't want to die by serial killer, arsonist, or mafia either. So my advice is to go for them on night 4 or 6. It's very unlikely they'll be on alert. If they are, well, that's tough puddings, but it's better than the situation of dying on right at the end of the game. Finally, jailers. Jailers are annoying. They can kill you even if you are the werewolf, and even if you're the werewolf and you kill them, they can put in their death note, hold on a second, this guy's a werewolf because I was jailing him. You really don't want to end up jailed at any point. So, like I said, stay quiet in the human phase, and if you're a werewolf and you get jailed, it's going to be annoying, but you could bullshit your way out of it, and then pretty much you'll kill him. And then you can try and say some stuff afterwards, but the thing I found mostly nowadays is that if somebody's killed by a werewolf or a serial killer, jailers put them in the will, people will lynch them anyway. If it's early game, if it's late game, they'll sort of be hesitant. You can actually work with the witch as a werewolf. If you know who the witch is, possibly by them claiming or something, ask them to throw like another person at a certain person, and then you attack that person on the night. What this gets you is that that person will target the other person. You'll kill that person and the person who the witch made them target. It's quite a nice double team where the werewolf can kill multiple people at once with the help of the witch. Obviously, since the witch wins with you, they'll be glad to help unless they want to control you themselves, which I don't think is actually they're able to do. So you'll be fine, like unless if the witch is dumb. Okay, now I'm gonna go through the idea of who you should attack. Now I've already said about veterans because you want them out of the way, but what if you want a massacre? Now, the best way to get a massacre as a werewolf is not to attack the noisiest people, because obviously if they're a veteran, you're dead. But if you kill people who claim roles, like somebody who's saying I'm an investigator or a sheriff, the mafia will immediately target them or the serial killer because that's a threat to them. Now, if you kill that person and then the mafia kills them, you will kill the mafia member too. People who are also yelling in chat, sort of like spamming and generally annoying. Well, if the veteran's gone or you don't think there's a veteran, it's a good chance to risk it. But I'd exercise caution on that. It's also good to attack mayors, unless there's a bodyguard. If you know there's a bodyguard, just stay away from that mayor like he's some form of lava. Because bodyguards can kill you. You don't want to hurt people who bodyguards are going after. Generally, bodyguards won't protect investigative roles for some reason, and I don't understand why that is, but take advantage of that. Okay, I think that's everything I wanted to go through today, so thank you very much for listening, guys. I'm Agnosaur2, and I love you. Bye-bye!